is a cruel truth unfolding right before our eyes every day. It is a grand play orchestrated so sophisticatedly that the puppets performing on stage even take pride in the strings digging deep into their flesh. At the apex of the social pyramid, a minority of those holding power and resources leisurely write the rules of the game. Meanwhile, at the bottom, billions of people strain under the weight of harsh standards, binding themselves with invisible chains called morality and ideals. To see through the nature of this giant matrix, you must shatter the 3 glass cages of perception that the elite have carefully crafted to imprison you. These are the 3 pivotal gates of thought. If you cannot surpass them, you will forever remain nothing more than a backup battery for someone else's machine. The first gate is the illusion of right and wrong and morality. Since birth, we have been inoculated with a dualistic way of thinking that is incredibly convenient for those who manage society. It suggests the world is split into 2 distinct halves, black and white, good and evil, demons and angels. Textbooks teach children that the bee is a useful insect, while the grasshopper is a harmful one. Pause for a moment to see the absurdity of this definition. Nature creates all species and labels none with virtue. The bee is hailed as good simply because the honey it produces directly serves the human stomach. The grasshopper is condemned as malicious simply because it competes with us for food. The concepts of good and evil here hold no cosmic sanctity. They are merely pragmatic metrics based on the balance of interests of those who define them. Shifting this lens to human society, you will see a spine-chilling polarization. Those at the top always preach about fairness and justice. But what is the shape of their justice? A poor laborer who, out of desperation, steals a carton of milk from a supermarket is immediately crushed by the legal system and paraded before the public as a social stain. Yet, in a different world not far away, giant corporations manipulated by the ultra-wealthy can leisurely dump millions of tons of toxins into the ocean or legalize tax evasion of billions of dollars through front companies. They are never called thieves. They are celebrated as brilliant economists and great philanthropists optimizing capital flow. Those in power create a set of moral rules to deter the weak, so the masses self-censor and tear each other apart in pointless social media debates over how a celebrity should dress to meet standards. While ordinary people scream themselves hoarse defending so-called righteousness. In quiet boardrooms on the highest floors of skyscrapers, the elite are busy redividing the global pie of interests. The fool always yearns to prove they are right. The one holding the chessboard merely smiles and calculates what they gain and lose. Morality, in the hands of rulers, has never been a mirror reflecting character. It is a golden hoop of restraint, a tightening crown. Once you have shattered that hoop, you will reach the second gate, the collapse of the monuments of authority. We live in an era where truth does not belong to the one who speaks correctly. Truth belongs to the one with the loudest megaphone. The most disgusting reality of human society lies in the art of mass manipulation. If an individual attacks you without cause on the street, it is an act of petty violence. If 10 people surround you, it is a barbaric gang assault. But if 1 million people point their spears at you, trampling you under the guidance of a perfect media campaign, it is hailed as the awakening of justice and the voice of conscience. The difference does not lie in the nature of the cruelty. The difference lies in the scale. The rules of power are, in fact, incredibly barbaric. A man who uses a knife to take a life out of a personal grudge will rot in a dark cell with a death sentence. But a commander who signs a decree to bomb a distant land, stripping the lives of millions of innocent civilians for the sake of national security, will be cast in bronze and recorded in history as a national hero. If you copy a song, you are a copyright infringer. But if you are a tech empire devouring tens of thousands of small businesses and stealing the data of billions of users globally, you are a pioneer shaping the future. Looting on a macro scale is never called a crime. It is always draped in the robe of conquest. Never let your eyes be blinded by the dazzling halos emitting from billionaires or powerful leaders. Most of the brilliant light you see in newspapers or on TV screens is a product carefully filtered through the membranes of public relations firms. They show you what they want you to see. A chairman smiling as he hugs a starving child in a slum, or a tycoon pledging to donate his entire fortune to humanity. Behind those expensive staged sets are thick shadows of oppression, of labor exploitation to the point of exhaustion, and of power exchanges filled with blood and tears. If their masks were stripped away, the naked truths revealed might make even those sitting on thrones nauseous from their own stench. The greatness the crowd worships is mostly just lies repeated often enough to become faith. Proceeding to the third gate, you must face the ruthlessness of time and the constant flux of all things, the illusion of permanence. The biggest logical trap humans set for themselves is the naive belief in a static and stable state. We always crave permanent security, a stable job until the end of life, a marriage certificate guaranteeing a love that never fades, or accumulated assets that will forever retain their value. This is an incredibly weak and short-sighted mindset. The elite never believe in permanence. They constantly restructure capital, change allies, and diversify risks because they know everything is a flow. Meanwhile, ordinary people bet their entire lives and futures on the word loyalty. You dedicate your youth to a corporation with the belief that the company is family. But when an economic crisis hits, your name is just a cold number on a layoff list sent with a single click. You try to maintain a toxic relationship just because of a marriage certificate or expensive dowries given on your wedding day. The crux of a marriage has never been about the number of gift trays or the amount of gold around the neck. It lies in whether those two people still have the value to walk together in the present moment. Do not harbor the illusion that if you spend a large sum of money on an item, it will forever belong to you with its value intact. Every relationship, every social institution, every asset is eroding and changing every second. Clinging to the past, blindly hoping for the future, and craving things that no longer belong to you is the fastest way to dig a grave for your emotions and reason. Absolute freedom only comes when you understand the art of letting go. Investing is not about holding on to something until death. It is knowing when to seize and when to leave. The nature of this world is incredibly cold and lonely. No savior will descend to rescue you from poverty. No billionaire truly cares whether you have dinner on your table, despite their tearful speeches on television. This universe does not operate on compassion. It operates on the law of natural selection. The strong and flexible will survive. The weak and stubborn will be crushed. The only and most important thing you can do is not sit and complain about the injustice of the times. What you must do is focus all your energy on upgrading the operating system in your brain. Peel away every layer of disguise from moralizing sermons. Refuse to play the victim in someone else's script. Do not let your mind be poisoned by the trashy words of the herd or the sweet traps of the directed media system. When your perception reaches the deepest level, you will see that all you need to do is simply remain silent, let go of hollow illusions, and act decisively for your own core goals. Awakening is a painful and profoundly lonely process, but it is a mandatory one. There are two paths for a person to wake up from the delirium of the era. The first path is through sharp words and naked truths stripped bare before your eyes. That is the cheapest price you can pay to trade for the light of thought. The second path is 10,000 times more brutal. It is when you are betrayed by the very system you once worshipped, trampled by those you trusted, and slapped in the face by reality until you lose everything. Going through those bone-chilling tragedies is the most expensive way to awaken. A price paid in blood, tears, and an entire lifetime. The choice is yours. Remember one thing clearly before you return to the daily grind. The sheep in the meadow are always trembling in fear of the cruelty of wild wolves, completely unaware that the one stroking them, feeding them every day, and eventually leading them to the slaughterhouse is the gentle shepherd standing right beside them.